Hello and welcome. Welcome to day 4 of Adventures in Tarot Casting. It is June 4th. Today I am using the 8 of Swords board from, it's a sticker, but I put it in my 9x12 sketchbook. The reason that this is the 8 of Swords, it's actually reimagined. I want to give you a little bit of a backstory about this particular board backdrop stage. I often refer to these things as either stages, casting boards, what have you, regardless of if it's in a book or on a board. So anyway, this image came about from a class that I had taught as part of Kiala Givehand, who is at Kiala Gives on Instagram. She does a thing called pull pin paint every year, and I have been asked for the last couple years to be a guest teacher, which has been really exciting. So last year my topic was reimagining the harder cards, right? And so I took the 8 of Swords, which, is traditionally a picture of a female figure or just a figure blindfolded with 8 swords all around them, kind of preventing them from moving forward. They're blindfolded, but their feet are still free, so they could technically walk, but they're too afraid that they might step in the wrong direction. So I reimagined that card by looking at the astrological correspondences of the 8 of Swords, which happens to be Jupiter and Gemini. So with the minor arcana, without going too deep into a lesson, there's some amazing books out there. I highly recommend Tarot Correspondences by Susan Chang. She covers pretty much everything that I would say right now. But so the 8 of Swords is Jupiter and Gemini. And so Jupiter corresponds to the Wheel of Fortune, and Gemini is the Lovers. So each minor arcana has 2 majors that kind of back it up, right? So 8 of Swords, if you read the Wheel of Fortune with the Lovers, you just see the changes in the choices that you're about to make, like an underlying tone for that card. So my class, the little workshop that I presented, was to take those cards and take all 3, take your 8 of Swords, and then your, with that one was Lovers and the Wheel of Fortune, and take the elements and draw them into a new card. So that's how this image came about. So we have the 8 of Swords now spiraling out as if they're spokes on a wheel. The blindfold has been removed, but it's up here. The mountains are in the backdrop here. In my particular 8 of, not 8 of Swords, of the Wheel of Fortune, I was using my Sawyer's Path Tarot, but also there's books in that card. So I took the books and put, the center wheel on one, and then the sun from the Lovers over here. And then I have the eye, which came from the Lovers card. So I just kind of drew my own thing. And then on Sawyer's Path Tarot, I have lilies, the Kiala lilies on the Lovers. So I just took symbols from each of those and created this scenery. And then the backdrop of this, the behind scenes, the mountain is, here, and then the ground with water on it. Those are from the traditional 8 of Swords. And then the ropes have now been unbound and they're kind of woven into the wheel. So that is how this image came to be. The wings are from the angel, so that's, and also the angel and the figures in the Wheel of Fortune. So, and then of course I created a border with the 2 swords because I just like the symmetry of it and the balance. And just, so this is the 8 of Swords reimagined. It may be fun one day to do a full deck in this nature, but I don't have the capacity for it right now. So that's the backstory on this image and what that might mean about being a stage. As I've said before in the last couple of videos, that when I show up to these casting boards, they are a quick access into what energy I might be playing with when I'm showing up on my cards. And so this one might be talking about the changes that happen in our life and the choices, and also maybe where we get in our own way, and then how to free ourselves from that. So I thought it might be fun to use 3 decks. I know, I'm getting a little crazy here on a Saturday morning, but it's all good. We got this. So 3 decks because there's 3 large card placements. So I'm going to use 3 decks here, and then Lenormand here, and then these little shadowy spaces up in the corners, I'm going to use tiny Rider-Waite Smith tiles. So for the main focus, I am using I'm going to pull a card from the Quest Oracle, which is the expansion pack for Kimberly Tsan's. It's now called Spread Crafter's Oracle, but this was part of the Kickstarter that she had when it was Spread Machine. It's just fun. It's like a choose your own adventure. So I have shuffled. I'm going to just cut the deck to get us the center card. It's going to give us a few words, and then we can work from there. So we've got weapon. Ooh. Just because it looks cute, it's not always really light and fluffy. So we have equipment, and it says, what is your best defensive gear? How can you advance and progress vigorously? I can't speak this morning. How can you achieve your aims and smash those goals? And what is a skill, a talent, or an aspect of your power that you can utilize to manifest your desired outcome? Okay, that's a lot of questions. Generally, I'm going to just summarize it. So the weapon, it's like choose your weapon, right? Like what is going to help you with these choices? And then, so now I'm going to pull a pocket of peers and an out of hand. So I'm going to do the pocket of peers on the left and the out of hand on the right. And again, I have shuffled, so let me just cut it. And we have the 3 of Pentacles. And the Magician. All right, so I'm just going to put these off to I have a little tray over here on the side that I keep my working decks in. And we'll do these here for aesthetics. All right, so we've got the 3 of Pentacles and the Magician. So I feel like the weapon, you know, so our equipment is, what is your best defensive gear? And, you know, how can you advance and progress vigorously? So it's like, you're still working on that. You're still working to understand what tools you have to your disposal and how to use them, right? Maybe you have to craft your own, offensive gear. Like, and so what might that look like for you? And is it going to be something that you need to ask other people to come help you with? Or is it something that you can conjure and create yourself? Like, when we think weapon in the modern day world, especially right about now, our focus is on tangible physical things that are outside of us that we can pick up to perhaps harm other people. But think about it, words can be weapons, actions can be weapons. Like, it's not just a physical thing. What is it that is your biggest strength, right? And some people really know how to make something happen. And I see this card, and this is actually, if in Pocket Appears, if you have the deck and you're not really familiar with it, this is my actual biological father, and he is a jack of all trades, but he's a master carpenter, and he's all these things, and literally you can go to him with a problem of needing something done, and he will figure out the best way to make it happen. And it's just kind of, so each person in this card is him, and he's like the one reading the blueprints, figuring out how to make it, and then putting it into action. And in the Magician, we have this way of seeing, like, okay, I've figured it all out, I've done my blueprints, I've mapped it all out, and now I'm gonna make it happen. And what is it that you're creating that is going to really help you in this, like it says, to find your power, and so that you can utilize it for your desired outcome. I love that these cards are very similar, but they're also kind of, they're making, they're doing, right? So I'm gonna bring in some Lenormand, go above and below with it, and I'm using the Tequila Sunrise version of my Leno cuts, and this bag by Moonlit Faye is just, matches so nicely, so good. So we've got the cross, stork, and birds. We got birds yesterday and stork yesterday, actually. And then coffin, bring it up. Sun. And clover. Okay. So summing it back into the central part, right? Like we always go back to the center in these because that is the focus. And then it says, you know, how can you achieve your aims and smash those goals? And we realize that it's going to take a team effort, and whether that's a team of all the skills that you already have to put at your, you know, put at your best advantage and then make it happen, or if it's working with your actual team. So how is it that you can achieve and smash those goals? And then I'm going to look to the top up here as that like above influence, perhaps the things that we know about. And we know that we're doing this because with this cross, it's like this burden that we've been dealing with, right? And so then we have the stork. It's talking about our promotion, our migration, our moving away from those burdens in order to find this space of like, you know, with the birds, it's got that voice we learned yesterday that the birds can talk about, like how we're going to communicate. Maybe we're a little bit of anxious about it, but we need to vocalize what we want to do in order to release that burden, right? So we know about this. We know that the desire is to move past it, move past those trials. And the weapon that we need is something that makes us be able to speak in our power and use our voice. So I feel like in this case, it's like perhaps you're crafting something that is a newsletter or is something that's going to communicate what you need to the masses. But if you're a little bit too timid, because birds can definitely be timid, then perhaps you have to get creative with it and think outside the box. So then the undercurrent, and I look at those below here as like this undercurrent energy, is the sun and the coffin and the clover. And the sun is that energy of really standing in your power, life force, vibrant. All things are good when the sun is out, for the most part. Coffin, then, we're closing the chapter. There's going to be an ending. So you have to say goodbye to something in order to see the new opportunities that are coming in from the future, right? So I love how I'm going to tell myself right now, right? Like this is one of those things where it's like, oh, you know, I don't see the cards I'm going to flip over first, so my brain doesn't get to have like, oh, this is how I'm going to say it in my video. So when I pulled over weapon, I'm like, oh, how am I going to talk through a reading with this card, you know? But I love how with the other things, as they come together, it helps flesh out that reading. And so, you know, this is really a unique deck. I used to like to use it and then put the tiles here. You know, you could just kind of, on the ones that don't have a lot of paragraph, you can just put it there and it's like a perfect little, you know, suggestion type of thing. So with this, seeing it in the equipment and then seeing the cards that pull up, they're both craftsman cards. They're both crafty. They're both getting the stuff done. And then about the things that we know and the things that we don't know. So it's like taking the assumingly difficult card in the center and just working it out through a conversation with these images, right? And I really feel like that's what tarot does, is tarot and Lenormand, any oracle deck. Anytime you read, you could read a painting that you have hanging in your living room just by looking at the images and the symbolism. So that was just a little side tangent. So back to the reading. Now that we know what our best offensive gear is going to be, it's something that's going to prompt us to use our voice. And now we have to make it happen, whether that means employing a team or getting back to our drawing board and then just literally seeing what we have at our hands reach. Like, what do we have around us? You maybe don't even need to go out and buy anything. You don't need to build anything unless you want to. But it's something that's going to help get our message out there, you know, be able to help get past the burdens, move towards the new message, the new words that we are putting out there in the world. And our words are our spells, right? And the undercurrent, again, is something that really makes us feel alive. In order to see those opportunities, we need to say goodbye to something, like hard close, hard stop, put it in a box, put it back on the shelf, or donate it, you know. And so on this board, I put these little ghosted corners. So you see they're a little bit lighter than the background and the squares. So those are for the tiny tiles. And another bag by Moonlit Faye. This is just, oh, I just love it so much. Her little crystal ball, and then you get like random, she does a random 2-card pull, and you know, mine was the King of Wands and the 3 of Swords, and it fits. It fits for when she gave it to me. Okay. So these 4 corners are going to be kind of just like some guideposts for the reading. And I'm going to lay them all out and then we will talk them through. So we have the 4 of Pentacles, the 8 of Swords. Oh, hey, showing up for your board. I see how you are. The Hierophant. And the Knight of Pentacles. You know, and I just had this come through since we're using like the quest deck. I figured that maybe these might be the people that we encounter throughout the day. You know, we might encounter that person who's really telling us to just use your voice, but save your money, conserve your resources. And then the 8 of Swords might be that person that reminds you why and how you get in your own way. It could also still be you with the yeah buts and the doubts coming in. The Hierophant is going to be somebody who maybe reminds you of the structures and the rules, and this is why it can't be done, but that's why you're doing this, is to smash through those inherited beliefs and the rules. And then the Knight of Pentacles is somebody who's like, this is a great idea, you need to take it slow though. You need to really, really, before you project your voice, before you send out your message, make sure that it is one of integrity and it is one of that's really, you know, going to be for the good of all. And if you are using your words as your weapon, like, you want it to come from a space of just truth and integrity and wholeness, right? And if we bring that back to the thing, what I was saying before when I was talking about reimagining the harder card, right? So we have that Wheel of Fortune energy behind and the Lovers, and it's talking about this message, this weapon, this thing that you are going out there for and building is going to change the world because it gives people that choice, you know? So that was a fun, playful reading, you know, with a little heavy backdrop, but I just want to show you the different ways that I use the boards that we make, and the tools and all these things. If you enjoyed this reading or if you enjoyed this board, let me know about it in the comments. I love to engage with you and I love to interact. If you have any questions, I will do my best to answer in the comments or even in another video. And as always, I will, you know, link the notes in the I guess it's a comment, the info, the bio of this video or whatever. And I hope you have a wonderful day and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.